Hi and welcome to today's vlog post. This is the third video in the Managing Difficult Feelings series, and today I'm going to be focusing on anxiety. Now, I feel like I deserve a gold badge in this topic because I have suffered with anxiety for years. I'd like to think that it's actually at the best stage it's ever been because I've practiced lots of different tips and techniques in order to try and improve it. So the aim today is to share with you the three most significant things that have really helped me get on top of my anxiety. Hope it helps you. Number one is to know your triggers. So different people respond to different things. Everybody is different. So for some people, their anxiety might be provoked by large open spaces, so sort of feeling very exposed could be an anxiety trigger. For other people, the opposite could be true, so being very confined, not feeling like you can get out, being too crowded, too hemmed in. So there's a huge difference between one person's experience of anxiety and another person's experience. It's really important that you know what you get triggered by, because if you can pinpoint those things and sort of identify them, then you can prepare for events ahead of when they happen. It's better to know what you're going into than to suddenly find yourself in a situation that you then think, oh my gosh, what do I do? The anxiety's kicking in again, and I now don't know what to do next, and then the panic sets in. Whereas if you know in advance, sort of firmly, who you are, what reaction you get when you're put in certain situations, you can then plan ahead and minimise your anxiety response. So that's number one. Number two is to have a care plan. This is so important. So knowing the triggers, you can then sit down when you're feeling calm and you can plan for what happens when you are then in those situations. So I'm going to use myself as an example. So supermarkets are one of my triggers. I know that if I go into a supermarket, my anxiety is going to rise. So I sat down and I thought, right, what would make going into the supermarket easier for me? One of the big things that I identified as a trigger was the chance of somebody speaking to me unexpectedly and me feeling very on the spot and not sure what to do with myself. So I thought, okay, how can I kind of work with this? After a lot of consideration, I thought if I go into the supermarket with my headphones on and I listen to some music, I'm going to be really engrossed in my headphones. I'm going to be paying attention to that, so I'm less aware of who's around me and what's going on around me. And I can be distracted from the thing that's triggering me in that situation. So it's not actually the supermarket and it's not the shopping, it's the fact that I might have to socially interact with somebody unexpectedly. Without the headphones, I am really aware of everybody around me, whereas with them, I'm really focused on the music. Therefore, my anxiety is much, much lower, and actually the experience of going to the supermarket doesn't bother me at all. So over a period of time, I practiced using that technique, and I then found that going to the supermarket wasn't anywhere near as challenging as it was to begin with, and actually I can do it without headphones now because I've done enough work to kind of prep me and condition me so that the supermarket no longer feels terrifying. So that's a very specific example, but just use those concepts and apply them to your triggers. Sit down when you can be at home quietly by yourself and think, right, what things could I put in place to make this a fraction easier? Then practice it. Okay, so the third step is to know that you have an escape route. So people that suffer with anxiety always feel in that moment when they're having the anxiety attack or that really overwhelming sense of, it's not fear, but it is fear in a way. They're feeling that way because they're stuck in that experience. So most of the time, 99.9% of the time, you are in a position to be able to take yourself out of an experience. Again, I'm going to refer to the supermarket. Now, nobody's making me go shopping, and it's not going to be the end of the world if I don't complete the task. So, knowing that my escape route is, if I feel that uncomfortable, I just leave my trolley and I just walk out the door and I go and sit in my car and I feel safe again. Nothing is going to happen if I do that. Equally, let's say you struggled going to restaurants. If you're sitting there and you're having dinner with your partner and your partner knows that you suffer with anxiety, and you plan in advance and say, right, I'm going to go to the restaurant and I'm going to give it a try, but if I feel uncomfortable, I'm just going to take myself out of the situation and I will meet you and wait for you in the car. Now, if you've got a supportive partner who wants to help you recover from your anxiety, they will be really understanding, because for every minute that you manage to spend in the place that would normally provoke the anxiety, that's an achievement based on not doing it at all. So it's better to go and attempt the scenario knowing that you can get up and leave when the feelings get too strong, than to not try at all. Because gradually, over a period of time, 5 minutes managing will turn into 10 minutes managing, will turn into managing the entire task and coping with the entire situation. So it took me a long time. It's not necessarily an overnight fix and it's not going to be easy. But those 3 things have transformed my ability to cope with different situations, because all that practice, so, a number of times I thought we were going to go out for dinner and then we got through a starter, or we got through, to the main course, and then that was it, and that was enough, and that was all I could do for that particular day. But by practicing and just constantly reaffirming that the situation wasn't going to create the end of the world, and me leaving the situation if it became too much, was enough to condition my brain that those particular things weren't as scary as I had thought they were originally. So to recap today, first of all, know what triggers you. Second of all, have care plans in place for those particular scenarios. And thirdly, always know that there's an escape route, and use it, but use it so that you keep yourself safe and just do as much as you can manage at any given time. Okay, I hope you found that useful, and there's going to be plenty more where that came from, so feel free to pop over and visit at www.whitebarntherapy.co.uk, where you can find out loads more on how to manage difficult feelings. Thank you.